Wonder Woman 1984, directed by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Kristen Wiig and Pedro Pascal, is a film that had been pushed back so often I thought I'd never see it. Production wrapped in 2018, and then some additional scenes were shot in July 2019, which actually around the time it was initially planned for release. I love the first Wonder Woman. Okay, if I'm honest, I was sceptical and went in not expecting much, yet the film surprised me. It was fun, had great action, was shot well, had great cinematography, and Gal Gadot was just so charming in the lead role, it won me over. This led me to be super excited for the sequel, I'm desperate for one, and when I knew it was being set in my favourite era, the 80s, I was so hyped up for this film, I literally rushed out to see it the day it hit the cinemas. As much as this pains me to say, not only did I want to love this film, I wanted to have a great movie to come back to. I mean, let's face it, cinemas had it tough this year. This film, disappointing. It was a mess, there was sloppy writing, poor CGI, and in parts, it was incredibly boring. I'd be better off calling this film Maxwell Lord 1984 because that's the star of the film. He has the most screen time, the most character development, he drives the plot forward, and even resolves everything for himself nicely at the end. Not even bringing back Chris Pine, who, let's face it, we all knew how it was going to end for his character, could save this film. I'll be doing a short, non-spoiler review now, followed by a spoiler section for the second half of the video. I'll put up a warning, but if you haven't seen the film, be careful. So, in Wonder Woman 1984, Gal Gadot is back, doing her thing, being a superhero, yet staying out of the spotlight. We meet Barbara Minerva, a fellow scientist who befriends Diana where she works at the museum. We also get Pedro Pascal's character, Maxwell Lord, a failing oil tycoon desperately trying to save his business and become successful. After discovering an ancient stone, without spoiling too much, let's just say this escalates events. All main characters start to experience their desires and dreams come true, but not all dreams can last. So, despite my disappointments in the film, let's talk about the positives. Performance-wise, it's pretty good. Gal Gadot is her usual charming self. It's been great to see her confidence in this role become stronger over the years. She can handle the action scenes well enough and she can convey emotions with ease. Kristen Wiig is decent in one of her few serious roles. Obviously well known for her comedic performances, she actually wasn't too bad in this film. I like watching her character gradually change over the course of the film, from a nerdy and shy outcast to life of the party, then something more sinister. Pedro Pascal is enjoyable to watch and has great screen presence. The film gives you enough of that. You can tell he had fun with the role and at least he was entertaining during his time. The soundtrack's pretty good. Hans Zimmer returns to provide the score for this film and it's used well. The start of the film has a great bombastic, heroic theme. And when the film's hitting the emotional points, the track helps bring feelings to the scene. It's blood pumping, energetic during the action scenes, but I just wish to use that amazing Wonder Woman theme that they used in Batman v Superman in the first film. The story, on paper at least, is a good idea. The film tackles themes of desire, sacrifice and truth. It has a positive message throughout, and despite being a little predictable, delivers it competently. Okay, now it's time for the bad. Without spoilers, let me briefly discuss what this film did wrong. Early on, and then gradually more and more during the action scenes, I noticed the film has a lot of CGI. Now I understand it's a superhero movie and I expect to see that, but not this much, and the worst part is, the majority of it is pretty terrible. Remember the action scenes from the first film, crossing the trenches, the fight in the town square, or even the soldiers attacking the beach at the start? It had a bit of CGI, but a lot of it was either Gal herself or a convincing stunt work. Seeing Wonder Woman for her sweeping kicks, flips and takedowns going out with slow motion felt like this was going to be her trademark. But if that's what you want in this film, get none of that. She's either flying around in slow motion, using her lasso constantly, and just generally defying laws of physics so much combined with that poor CGI, it completely takes you out of the film. The film, like I said before, feels mostly like Pedro Pascal's film. Even during the first act I was thinking, damn, this guy's got a lot of screen time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed his performances in other projects recently. The Kingsman, Game of Thrones, The Mandalorian. This is supposed to be Wonder Woman. Often scenes with his character where he gives some dialogue, advances the plot a little, and you think, okay, it's going to go back to something else now. And it kept going and going and going. I understand he's the main villain, but tone it down a little. My last point is the overall writing and story elements of this film, especially during the second and third acts. It fell apart and became unbelievable and almost silly. If you want to know more, you'll have to go to the spoiler section with this, but the villain's powers, how they handle Steve Trevor, the ending, and overall conclusion of the movie is so messy and all over the place. It almost felt rushed, like they had some ideas and were going somewhere, and had to cram them together quickly and put a film out there. Overall, I think Wonder Woman is not a terrible film. There's something in here for everyone if you look hard enough and have some gleeful hope. This film feels like a drawn-out drama. Messy writing, poor special effects, and a real lack of tension and impact just drag this film down for me. And this really hurts me to say. I want this film to be good. I want films back in the cinema so badly. We had a good start to the year. 1917 was good. Jojo Rabbit was one of the best films I've seen. I had a blast watching Bad Boys for Life and Bill Ted Face the Music. However, I'm giving Wonder Woman 1984 a simple average of 5 out of 10. Welcome to the spoiler section, where I can dissect the film a little and really try to explain more why this film disappointed me. Firstly, the film's predictable, and I feel like I've seen most of it through the trailers. When I first saw the full-metal trailer for this film, I could straight away pinpoint the major plot elements. I could tell Steve coming back was a sour deal, it was going to backfire, and Diana would end up losing him again. Barbara defending Diana and then turning against her. I could see Maxwell Lord using the stone for power, corrupting others. The line, "If you dream it, you can have it," and then Diana saying, "Nothing that's good born from lies," pretty much summed up the story. I also felt like most of the film I had seen from all the trailers. Stopping the criminals in the mall, introduction of Barbara and Maxwell, Steve coming back, Barbara becoming stronger, the chase scene in Cairo, the fight with Cheetah. I just feel like nothing was surprising during the film. Okay, it was not a film of an Olympic-style competition with a young Diana. A little CGI heavy, where I forgave it at the start. It was shot fine, but the film didn't really impress me, and it never did later with any cinematography. Sometimes in films you see something and you think, that's a cool shot, or wow, this looks great, and nothing in this film felt like that. The point of the introduction is that Diana learns that being true is the only real way of life, and I felt it sets the film nicely. We then cut to the over-the-top portrayal of the 1980s. I didn't mind this, it's my favourite era, and I love the look of the decade. The clothing, cars, colours, we're all here. We see a bunch of accidents happening and Diana flashing around saving them. She does this in a way that no one really gets a good glimpse of her, just like the Flash, which I suppose wants to set up the full reveal of her later on. We then proceed with some over-the-top goons robbing a store, collecting rare artefacts in the back. They try to escape, one drops their gun, a woman screams as she's been stabbed in the leg at the side of it, and all hell breaks loose. It's kind of hard early on to tell what tone they were going for. It felt kind of comedic and cartoonish, in performances especially. What baffled me though was when one of the goons gets a little stuck for options. He grabs a young girl and says, "I'm not going back," and dangles her over the balcony. I mean, just point your gun at her would have been easier. The scene felt to me really drawn out, and I thought, wow, they're really trying to extend this runtime. Now enter Wonder Woman. This is one of the very 4 short scenes we get of Wonder Woman. Yeah, I said 4, and they're all really short. Now, I was excited. I thought, yes, she's going to slide in with that awesome theme song in the background, we're going to see some nice choreography, maybe a bit of comedy thrown around. Oh, I see. Well, we get Wonder Woman do some strange lasso work, wrapping people up, throwing them around, swinging across the mall. Guys are thrown through the air, and it became so cartoonish and slapstick. I mean, one guy falls through something, he spins around like it's some early 2000s kids movie, and she then knocks one guy flying in the air to catch him and wink at some kid. Oh yeah, and she takes them all together, throws onto a police car, crushing it, and quite possibly killing the men she tied up. I really hope no one's in that police car when you did that, Diana. It was then brought to our attention that Diana is sort of a secretive hero, like Batman maybe. No one really knows who she is, she's treated as some sort of mystery character. Yet right away I'm confused. I mean, she doesn't exactly have a good hidden identity or a masked costume. After meeting Barbara Minerva, we discover the stone, the main plot point of this film. This ancient relic grants wishes. You touch it, make a wish, it comes true. Maxwell Lord manages to worm his way in and grab it. He's been after it for a while, no indication of why or how he knows about it, apart from a few drawings on a desk. Barbara wishes to become stronger and more confident and beautiful, which is then shown through scenes of her standing up for herself and being noticed by the guys at work. Just that classic trope of losing your glasses, wear a bit of makeup to transform herself. That was part of the stone, not just appearance making transformation, but it could have been done a little bit better. Now on Steve Trevor. My god, how they handle Steve Trevor's return, in my opinion, is a little disturbing. In case you haven't already guessed, the power of the stone grants wishes. You touch it, make a wish, and it comes true, but it has a price, a drawback, as you can imagine. As Diana says, nothing that is good is born from lies. So, what is Steve? Is he a ghost? A mirage? A figment of Diana's imagination? A visual representation of her loss and desire for her love? Or is Steve back, in the flesh, like nothing happened? If you guessed any of those things, well, you're wrong. Steve is in fact using someone else's body. A random man speaks to Diana at a party, quotes some of Steve's lines in the previous film, and then transforms into Steve. The worst part is, Diana and Steve know this. Looks in the mirror, sees an innocent man he's hijacked. I mean, this poor guy for one, he might have a family, a wife, but he's having controlled by Steve Trevor, and Diana is so overwhelmed with joy she just accepts he's back. Now I know this is a drawback, the kick on the stone's power. There's a truth behind the lie, that's not actually Steve. Yet Diana also loses her strength too. Is that not the price having Steve back? Anyways, after the first act and beginning of the second act, the film stumbles along and the pacing falls really flat. We've already had so much of Maxwell Lord meeting Diana and Barbara, throwing a party, obtains a stone, seeing struggling company, meeting his son, who, by the way, is so wooden in some scenes he might as well have brought across Baby Yoda from Mandalorian. He has more range. He then propels the plot forward by wishing he became the stone. Don't know how that works, but okay. So now he's basically some kind of genie, yet people must ask him and touch him and wish what they want. I guess in return for their wish he can do anything. I didn't quite get his power, but I suspend my disbelief at this point, it was fine. Meanwhile, Diana just wanders around with Steve, and I don't know what it was, I just didn't really feel the connection as strongly in the sequel. They didn't quite play it in a comedic fashion like the fish out of water story from the first, it wasn't quite as heartfelt as it should have been. Maybe I should have left it out the trailer for more impact. It's at this point the film really hit a wall for me, so to speak. I was enjoying the film, but it felt as a little lacklustre, and I was hoping for some big story pivotal moment or a standout action scene or just some excitement. It didn't come for a while, and I was just feeling a little bored. Meanwhile, Maxwell Lord goes around basically coercing people into making a wish. But that is literally what he does in this film. He grabs people, says, "You wish this was like this, didn't you?" And they sort of agree, and he's like, no, say you wish it. And they make a wish. That's pretty much what this guy does for the rest of the film, that's his goal. Grants people wishes, that escalates as the film progresses, gaining more power over time. He goes to Cairo, tricks a wealthy oil owner into giving him a wish, then just snaps his fingers, seals all his bodyguards, and they follow all his orders completely. My brain at this point was starting to give up on this belief. It was just getting a bit too silly for me. The next ridiculous thing to happen was Diana and Steve getting to Cairo to confront Maxwell Lord. Rather than take a plane, Diana somehow has access to planes at a hangar and offers Steve to pilot it and take them there. How does he know how to control a jet? No idea. I mean, I don't understand plane controls, but I would have figured you need more knowledge just to jump in and expect to have the same controls of an aircraft made 50 years prior. Also, how do you know which way was to Cairo? No idea, they just go there. Oh, and Diana just makes the plane invisible. She just brings up that she's been practicing it and makes the plane vanish. I mean, I get they were bringing in the classic invisible jet from the comics, I just wish they would have led up to it a bit more, maybe have them use their powers earlier, or better yet, use them again in the film. Maybe, I don't know, any other goddamn point rather than just charging in guns while whips blazing. While on that subject, we never actually get to see her iconic sword and shield in this film, which disappoints me even more. So, in Cairo we get a little chase scene with Diana and Steve after Maxwell and his military convoy. The action scenes here just didn't feel tense or exciting. No practical effects, a lot of CGI, and then slow motion whilst Diana flies around with any trucks and cars flying in the air. This could be probably personal preference, but I want a bit more attention, rustic stunt work, maybe an iconic theme song playing. It shouldn't reach the heights of the first film. Remember her charging across the trenches in the first film, holding all the firepower of the German machine guns giving inspiration for her allies to swim across to make their move? Nothing in this film reached the same level of excitement. The way that sequence was shot, the music, the emotions it brought up, it never felt anything close to what that was in this film. So, moving on, Maxwell and Cheetah team up, as probably guessed, to prevent their wishes being reversed. It turns out the only way to stop the power of the stone is to destroy it, or everyone renounces their wish. Fair enough. Maxwell starts to get ill. His body is broken from the power of the stone, and needs more wishes to sustain himself. His desire for power grows to an insane level. His issue is, he needs to broaden his scope. Yet people must be touching him physically and make a wish. So how can he reach everyone? After tricking the President of the United States into wishing for more nuclear weapons, yes, you heard that correct, he gains all the power and authority he needs. He then uses some special satellite technology. He realises he can broadcast himself to everyone, and the particle technology from this program will allow him to grant everyone a wish. Right. So then he goes to live TV, tells everyone to make a wish. It will come true, and everyone does. Chaos ensues, people get their craziest wishes come true. I actually thought this wasn't a bad idea. Executed better, yeah, but the premise of everyone getting exactly what they want and backfiring them was a decent idea. Diana then flies to his broadcast location. Steve mentioned flying was all about dragging and lift, using the wind to guide yourself. So it's just, well, flies. Uses a whip to launch yourself through the skies, and just, I'm not joking here, does a Superman pose and just soars through the skies. We get a very small battle with Cheetah. Diana just sort of defends herself for a while in the golden armour, and then we get some high rope circus style trapeze work with heavy CGI. Before they fall into some water, and then Diana lets Cheetah get electrocuted, and that's it. I know in the first film the final fight against Ares had a lot of CGI and was very blurry at times, but at least got the emotions right and it felt a bit epic. We then see Maxwell just granting millions of wishes. Diana tries to stop him, but she can't. She then lassos his foot. It's a nice inspirational speech to the whole world about truth, and everyone, all at once, renounces their wishes and go back to normal. And that's it, plot done. It's all over. Oh, and Maxwell just finds his estranged son and hugs him. They love each other. Sorry, I'm a loser, I still love you, I was stupid. I couldn't take his son seriously, he was just so bad. And that's it, that's the story summarised. A ridiculous plot, messy writing, slow pacing, and poor action and effects just dragged this promising film down to an average score for me. If you think I'm just being negative or don't like superhero movies, then that's fine to think that. It's not true though. I love superhero movies. I love movies in general. I want them back on the big screen doing well. Understand, I critique this film this way because I want it to do better. If you don't critique or say when a film or a game is bad, has faults, when you should, companies will never want to improve them. That's it. That's it for this review. Go see this film. If you're a big fan of the first film, and you loved it, and you love Diana Prince, you love Gal Gadot, you might find some enjoyment here. But unfortunately, I didn't find that here. That's it for this review. See ya.